10 people.
Do we have to?
Yes.
But for just this class.
Everybody has to.
Oh my goodness.
All right, section 3.3b. Little review. I put this at the top. When the number on an absolute value is outside the inequality, it either goes up or down. So just notice that plus u and that minus d are outside, so that causes the absolute value, remember it's in the shape of a V, to shift up or down. When it's on the inside, notice here, these are on the inside, these two shift in the opposite direction that they are listed. So a minus pushes it right, a plus pushes it left. All right, that has been a while since we've done that, and so that is something that we really need to make sure that we recall. And then remember, when there's a minus sign in front of the x, it's no longer the shape of a V, it's the shape of a tent or a mountaintop as we're graphing. Does that ring a bell? Is that on familiar ideas? Okay, so this is a great chance to kind of bring those ideas back. All right, so let's slide down here, a little bit more review. Less than or equal to, we shade below. All right. Greater than or equal to, we shade above. So we need to make sure that we are differentiating between those two shading pieces. Questions there? Zach?
So if the y was on the other side, what would it be?
Well, then you have to look, then you have to read it backwards. For example, if you have 2x plus 3 is less than y, we have to think that really says y is greater than so y is greater than, we would shade above. So yeah, you have to always read it in your mind with the y first. So great question. All right, so let's do a little review here. This will be a great chance of practicing a little bit of stuff as we look towards our quiz today. All right, I'm going to label this first one in green. Tell me my slope, somebody. Negative 1/2. Put the negative in the top. Tell me my y-intercept. 3. Okay. Which axis do I start on? Show me with your arm. Do I start on this one or start on this one? Which one do I start on? Start on the vertical. All right, so go to 3 on the vertical and go down 1 over 2. There we go. Reviewing from yesterday, is this a solid line or a dotted line? Dotted line, so make it a dotted line. Madeline or Layla, do I shade above or do I shade below, and why? Excellent, and why?
Because y is a little less than.
Okay, it is less than, so we shade below. So do a light shade below. And notice I did not pick up my pen during that whole shading because later we're going to do some erasing for the combined inequality. All right, now we go to absolute value. Switch colors to red. Is this a normal V or is it a mountain?
Normal V.
Normal V. Is it shifted up or down, or is it shifted right or left? Left. Okay, so it is left 1 unit. So go from the origin and go left 1 unit. Put a dot there. Am I going to make a solid V or a dotted V? And how do you know? Because it is equal to. So make a solid V with a slope of 1. And a solid V in the other direction with a slope of 1. And where is this solid V shaded? Above. Is it obvious where they intersect?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see the triangle?
Mm-hmm.
So let's shade in that triangle. I'm going to shade it in with blue. It's going to have a dotted line at the top, a solid line border on the bottom, and everything shaded in the middle.
Then we erase everything else?
Then, theoretically, you would erase everything remaining. And the answer is just the blue. Solid on the bottom, dotted on the top, shaded in between. That means, Trevor, if you pick a point, that point, if it's in that blue area, is a true statement for both the top one and the bottom one. And if you pick a point anywhere else, it will not work for both.
It's like negative 2, 2 would work
Negative
for-
2,
No.
2, right here.
Yeah.
That point, that green point, will be a true statement for both the top equation and the bottom equation. Hence why it's a solution. But any other point will only work for either one or the other. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's actually pretty cool.
It has a point.
Yeah.
Har, 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 har. All right, a little more review. You don't get it? It has a point. You had a point in the problem. It was a really bad math pun. Okay, blue equation. Y equals a number. Remember with me. This way or this way? Goes through the y-axis. Goes through the y-axis. Am I a dotted line or a solid line? I am a dotted line. Do I shade above or below? Above. Okay, so horizontal. Let's do a little quick review. What is the slope of this dotted line?
0.
0. Good. All right. I'm going to switch to red. Valley or tent?
It's a tent.
I heard valley, I heard tent. Who wants to?
Oh, yeah.
Give me a reason why, Lydia.
Because it has a negative in front of the absolute.
Okay. Negative in front of the absolute value. Okay, so it's a tent. Which way is it shifted? I heard right 3. Do you agree with it? Just because I wrote it doesn't mean it's true.
It is correct.
Okay, so let's go from the origin and let's go right 3. And let's make a 45-degree angle coming down. Please be precise in those. It is a solid line because it's equal to. And it is shaded where? Below. So, we're going to try to write our answer here. Everyone see the triangle? Dotted line and shade. The erasing part's the funnest part of all. Now, we need to be very clear here that this is a dotted line there at the bottom. So our goal is to find the region of shading today. So far, this is pretty straightforward?
Yeah.
It's also a good review of graphing. So, all right. Let's look at number 3. I did a little bit here. We need to do a little solving. So Mas or Luke or Anna, can you solve that first equation for me if you'd be willing to do that? We need to get the y by itself.
So you would add 2 from the right side on both sides.
You could, but don't I want to get the y isolated? So
you would add x.
So we're going to add x. Okay, so 2y is less than x minus 2. And then Mas or Anna, what's the last step? Divide by 2. So divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. So y is less than 1/2 x minus 1. There we go. Where do I start? On the x-axis or the y-axis? Because it's called the y-intercept. So Stephen, I start at minus 1. And my slope is 1/2. Stephen, what do you think? Solid or dotted?
Dotted.
Excellent. Do you know if it's shaded above or below, Stephen? Okay. There we go. All right, let's look at our second one. Valley or tent? Do we agree with that? But there's a -4. Okay, it's not before the absolute value, so it's definitely a valley. Do we have a left-right shift? Right 2. Do we have an up-down shift? Down 4. And just as a reminder, as we come back up to here, I can't emphasize enough the fact that top box, that is going to be critical that we have that really locked in terms of our knowledge. So we just got to make sure that we're just dead on in terms of that. Okay, so here we go. I go right 2, I go down 4. It is a valley, perfect 45-degree angle. Solid line or dotted line? It's solid because it's equal to. Is this one shaded above or below? Above. So once again, we have a, well, technically the blue's up there, right? So my answer I'm going to put in green, a dotted line there, a solid line there, and I'm going to try to shade in this triangle. But this time I'm going to try to not get up to that dotted line. We good? And then obviously, there we go. I love the erasing part of this. It's just kind of fun.
I just don't like it because I don't always get everything.
Oh,
Like,
so when I'm shading, I don't know if you notice, Zach, but when I'm shading with just I don't pick my pen up. So if I touch any part of it, the whole thing just
Then
disappears.
like when you're doing like all the dots for like the
I know, but it's, you know, we're trying to get a basic idea here.
you should be able to erase one color, that'd be awesome.
That would be an interesting. You should suggest it to draw board, and maybe they'll take your suggestion. So, all right. Any questions?